What's going on, guys? It's your boy HQ420. Welcome y'all back. Another episode Beyond the Cube. We are a little late because we had technical difficulties. It's trying to hold us back. It seemed what the title of this particular episode of Beyond the Cube was, and it's like, no, we must slow these Negroes down, okay? And of course, our resident white supremacist. Corey Hughes, we got the platform with the I had to throw that out there. You know what I'm saying? The resident. Don't you have to have at least one?
Well, that's hilarious because like all my broadcasting lately is done with people of color. I did a great show on the film Death Squad last week with two men of the Hispanic persuasion, and we had a glorious meeting over Hitler. I mean, it was just fantastic. So that's I hope to unite all the races of the world through their love of Adolf Hitler. I think that'd be
You said it was a glorious meeting.
It was glorious, yeah.
Is that the proper term for what we got? I mean, hey, some people would say that we have an issue right now with people. What is it? You could say glorifying, raising upon the pedestal of Hitler. Okay, so they're saying that y'all are making things bad out here in these streets. Okay. That's what they're saying.
So here's the deal with Hitler, man. Hitler was just a German patriot who wanted to unite the German peoples. And you got to think, at the time, there was a distinct connection between the blood of the people and the land on which they lived, right? Something that we can't say here in America. None of us can, right? So I laugh at the idea that you could ever have any kind of national socialist movement in America because our blood and the land don't connect at all. We have no claim except our claim of through force. So, but that's not the case with most of the countries in Europe, right? Most of the countries in Europe, whether you're German, French, British, whatever, your people have been there for thousands of fucking years, right? Mm-hmm. Such was the case with Germany. But, of course, a certain group of people had to come in and attempt to undermine German culture and destroy Germany as some sort of weird throwback to biblical prophecy, I think. And Hitler wasn't having it. Everything that Hitler did was purely reactionary to things that had already occurred, that had happened to Germany, right? Okay. You can only be someone's bitch for so long before you say, no more. And that's exactly what Adolf Hitler was and did. So. Okay.
Oh, before you say no mas. No mas. Well, I mean.
No mas.
That could be the case. That could be the case for it. But, some people would, we talk about propaganda. And, I mean, you even have a little bit of a show called Understanding Propaganda. And
correct. Which is newly revived, by the way. If you haven't got the memo, Understanding Propaganda is back in action. Knocked out 4 episodes this week, but it's only on my Substack for subscribers. So go subscribe.
Okay. Yeah. So we speak about understanding propaganda, and there would be some people out there that would say that you paying homage to Hitler would be a form of putting out propaganda. That's what they would say.
Well, that I could understand why they would say that, but I would say that's not the case, particularly if you hearken back to the original principles of propaganda, and you realize that propaganda is. You can come to recognize the propaganda because it is packaged in such a manner to where the lowest intelligence among us can comprehend it in a matter of seconds, right? So the message, it has to be simplified. It has to be able to be gotten across to the lowest common denominator in society, right? So you'll know propaganda, like the vaccine is safe and effective. That is a perfect example of propaganda.
Yes.
Right?
That is what I was supposed to say.
It is a short, decisive message that gets across the idea. And here's the thing, propaganda can be true. Propaganda, like a lot of the propaganda that Hitler pushed in the beginning was over the top. It was hyperbolic, but it wasn't false, you know? And so propaganda really is just a way of packaging information and distributing it in order to shape public opinion. But it's usually done in a simplistic form. Now, there's obviously more advanced forms of propaganda, right? Like a good example would be in all wars, even to this very day, they airdrop like leaflets into a town that has messages on it, right? And the messages will say, you know, your leaders are betraying you. They're living high on the hog while you're suffering. You know, they'll try to turn the people against their government to kind of soften up the terrain for an invasion, right? And so it's not always the invasion, especially in today, because we're constantly at war in the realm of the mind, right? So propaganda is 50% of what we call psychological warfare, which is two components. There's propaganda and then there's rumor, and both of which are started and propagated by the government. Always.
Wasn't that the psychological warfare? Wasn't that the Shun Tzu?
No, that's the art of war. That's the art of war. But I'm sure there's honestly, I've never read the art of war. I probably should.
Oh, you had? Oh,
no,
okay.
I probably should.
Shun Tzu. Isn't that in there saying?
Yes.
That Chinese nigga.
Right. That Chinese nigga.
I don't know. Hey, I don't know. Charles White, he would disagree with us.
Then you have Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching. You know, he was that Confucius nigga. So
okay.
Right? So there's all kinds of these.
They're just hanging around. They're just hanging around out here. There ain't no doubt about it. So guys, if you haven't jumped on the bloodyhistory.substack, I mean, jump on it.
Jump on it. It's really good.
If you're a history buff, if that's your thing, I mean, we've got the historian with us. Okay, I mean, by the time that Corey gets to where it's over, you know what I'm saying, and when he's really gonna make a ton of money after he's gone, because that's what happens.
I'll be dead. Yeah, my estate will be rich.
yeah. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I always love it when people die and then the estate sues somebody. I'm like, this bitch is dead. Who the fuck you suing? Like, what the fuck's going on here? The idea of an estate to me is hilarious.
Corey, we've got somebody who's inquiring if they can steal get a signed copy of Corey's MFM book.
Yes.
Chris Hill, Florida, our resident Floridian right now. No, we got some other people in there, but I know that he watches our show quite a bit, so you can still get that. Yeah,
that's available. Just email me, Corey at coreyhughes.org, and I'll get you the details.
Okay, there you go, Chris.
So
hey, anybody else who wants that? Anybody else who wants that? And you were just recently on a show. What was that? Was that yesterday? Or was that today?
I did Nephilim
Squad. On Day Zero. I know you posted on Day Zero.
I did that one. That was pretty good. We got pretty deep. Lately, everyone's wanting to talk about Hitler. I go on to talk about Kennedy, and everyone's wanting to talk about Hitler. It's wild.
It may be because that's what your Substack has been about. You know, you really did that deep dive on that.
Well, here's the thing. It is impossible to talk about what's going on in the modern era with Israel and Ukraine and just what's happening in our, American foreign policy spheres, right? It's impossible to talk about that without bringing up the Jewish question. And ultimately, the Jewish question has lingered for hundreds of years, and it still lingers, right? So the Jewish question, many people think that, Adolf Hitler said that he was seeking the final solution to the Jewish question, right? That you have to understand where Hitler was coming from with that statement. That statement was a straight up jab at the Zionists of the day. And so, because that Jewish question had been pondered not by the world, but by Jews in particular, it was a Jewish question to what, it'll take me an hour to just give you the backstory of the Jewish question. So we'll just leave it at that. The full breakdown, it's deep, right? Because these people are asking, these are a bunch of white people who can't integrate in white society. And they haven't been able to for 800 years. And you have to ask yourself, why not? So you had the Irish come to America and everyone hated the Irish. You had the Italians come and everyone hated the Italians. But these are fundamentally white people. So eventually, a couple generations go by and they're fully integrated into white culture in America, right? It's just how it is. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't happen with Jews. They maintain their independence, their cultural independence, which is hilarious because none of them really, unless you're Orthodox with the curls, you're full of shit, right? So you got one foot in the game otherwise. And so
you're full of shit.
Yeah, and so it's a culture that intentionally separates itself from the cultures that are surrounded. And you can't have that. I can understand, like, you have a Chinatown, you have people coming in who don't speak the language, and a sort of mini culture pops up, in cities across the country, because that's where those people would just naturally congregate. But that's not exactly what happens with Jews, because they're just Americans. They don't have a language barrier. It's an intentional separation from a culture that I don't even believe is theirs, that was hijacked some 1,000 years ago. So the Jewish question, back to the Jewish question, everyone thinks that's a Hitler thing. It's not a Hitler thing. It's a Herzl thing. Herzl's entire diary, when you read Herzl's diary about what do we do about ourselves, what do we do with all these Jews and this and that. And when you read Herzl's diary, and he was a Jew, right? So he when you read about what he wanted to do, you read about how there was already an Argentinian colony of Jews going back to the mid 1800s. And that wasn't good enough for him. He didn't want to go join that colony because it wasn't his, right? He wanted to do his own thing. Instead of going to that colony, which was already started to be established, he ditched that idea and he wanted to establish something of his own. But when you read through his diary, he was very hush hush. He's like, we're going to have to do all this in secret, because if anybody gets wind of what we're doing, trying to form this Jewish state, they're going to come down on us and they're going to destroy us, and the Jews will be persecuted for another 1,000 years. So he's talking about meeting with the Rothschilds throughout the whole goddamn diary. The whole first book of the Diary of Herzl is him wanting to go meet with the fucking Rothschilds. And like, he's crazy. Ultimately, he dies in a mental institution in 1904. And so this fucking guy, he's like having a schizophrenic episode in his goddamn diary. Like, and he's basically saying how he's going to go to the Rothschilds and kiss their ass, and hopefully they'll see his vision and they'll give him all the money he wants to start this Jewish state. And then he's like, but if they don't do it, they'll make the worst enemy of me in the world. And he talks about all the ways that he's going to stab them in the back, for not going along with it, right? And so it's like, this fucking guy is just a lunatic to begin with. The entire idea of a Jewish state is racist beyond belief, which is hilarious because it's just a bunch of inbred white people. And so...
But some of them can get a good tan, though. They can get a good tan.
I guess.
Can be off-color. They can be off-color white.
Well, Ashkenazi Jews in Israel have the highest rate of skin cancer in the world. Does that mean anything? I don't know. Maybe they're not supposed to be in the fucking desert. Maybe they should be like north of the Caucasus Mountains.
Maybe it means they're vampires. They're vampiric in nature.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, that's seemingly the case, isn't it?
Vampiric in nature. No doubt about it. So, yeah. Shit, man. We jumped right on the Jews right out the gate. Hey, look. They said
because it was because all roads lead to Rome. That was the point. All roads lead there in the modern era. If you're talking to anybody, anything, all roads will lead to Adolf Hitler. Period. Because it'll lead to the Jews. It'll lead to like, oh my God, I can't believe these Jews are doing all this stuff. And then it's like, oh yeah, what did that guy Hitler say about them? And then and everyone goes, this conversation goes, oh yeah, Hitler. And there you have a whole new conversation, and everyone seems to be about it.
It's right over to
the thing that's crazy is it's a lot of people of color are all on the Hitler bandwagon. Like, they don't have any white guilt about it. They don't have any white guilt about it, because white people have been taught to be guilty about studying. You talk about Hitler, you're going to fucking be guilty of some shit.
White guilt to take you out.
Yeah, white guilt's it's a real thing. All them white women who vote for Kamala, I got white guilt going on all day. If I could bottle it and sell it, I'd make $1 million. Fuck.
They do, because they look at black folks and they're like, I really don't like you. Okay, so I got that white guilt. I shouldn't be this way. So they're out there trying to fight their own racism. But look, hey, obviously today it looks like Israel struck a massive blow. This is allegedly the Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar.
A massive blow.
Took out today.
Okay.
Took out today. They got a picture of him. Well, I'm not sure if it's him or if it's like a mannequin.
Okay.
It looks like a piece of wood went through his skull.
Yeah, so they killed one dude, and that's going to end all the hostility forever because they got the guy. Like, this incident didn't come about through intelligence. This came about through an on-the-ground incursion by Israel. They got into a firefight and ended up killing this fucking guy. And then they're like, holy shit, we think we got this guy. Mm-hmm. And so it hasn't been confirmed or denied yet. I don't think it's been, they keep saying it is, but the Israelis will lie right to your face. It's their number one character trait.
They got ninjas standing around this dead dude.
Right.
They said allegedly that they sent the drone in to bust his ass.
There was some sort of underground firefight at the time also, though.
Yeah, they said on camera they had it where my man was slinging a piece of wood at the drone to try to shoo it away, but it got his ass.
Yeah, that's so who gives a goddamn fuck? It's just another fucking guy they killed with a name that we can't pronounce, and there's going to be another one that we can't pronounce tomorrow taking his fucking place. Is anything going to change? No. Here's the deal: the Israelis. This has all been one big false flag. Last year, October 7th, false flag. They fund their own private army of their own privateers who they pay to fucking commit terrorist attacks. They pay Hamas to commit terrorist attacks against Israel. And then when they do, they're like, oh, we're going to kill the Palestinians. It's all about provocation, because here's the thing. As Ryan Dawson once said, at least they still feel the need to lie to us.
Yeah.
That's a good fucking thing, because the day that they don't feel the need to, Israel's on the verge of not feeling the need to lie to us anymore. But our own government still feels the need that they have to lie to us and sway public opinion. And that's why the need for propaganda and all that, because when you lose the public opinion in America, you're fucked, as Kamala Harris is finding out right now. So
no, she's a strong candidate. We'll talk about that for our final piece. Because 'tis the season, Corey. 'Tis the season. You know what I'm saying?
'Tis the season for what?
Pandering.
For pandering. It's pandering season, yeah.
Oh man, that's what it is. And you know who they're pandering for? It'd be the black vote. All right. Look, man.
They fucked. Here's the deal. They have the portion of the black vote that's blue no matter who, because they'll never catch up with what's really happening. But that's not a race thing at all. That's most of the white population too. Right. So and then you have the portion of people of color who are like, fuck that bitch, she just lies right to our face, and they're all going to vote for Trump. But unfortunately, the numbers are staggeringly, like, it's still like 80-20. It ain't even close. I mean, it's not even close to 50-50.
Well, no, they were looking at her points. She is doing categorically worse than any Democrat since Obama got in. Like,
I don't even want to call these people Democrats. They're communists. These people are communists. They are not Democrats.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
Like, your grandfather's Democrat.
We need to bring back McCarthyism, and we need to make communism illegal. Should not be allowed to have communist organizations in America. You should go straight to the fucking gulag. And so let me just make this really clear. When you're talking about government in general, all right, like, there's no such thing as democracy. It's a joke. All governments are authoritarian. And all people want an authoritarian government as long as the government is pushing their shit. You know what I mean? So everybody just needs to take the goddamn fucking mask off and admit that they are authoritarians, every one of them. The Democrats more so than anyone else, right? Because I think it's very rational and reasonable to have a constitutional republic type situation where you have freedoms that are enforced through the barrel of a gun. You know what I mean? And people who fuck with your First Amendment or fuck with this, they go to the gulag. If you fuck with the American standards of our culture and our Constitution, you go to the fucking gulag. You try to undermine an election, you go to the gulag, right? All kinds of shit. You try to put the gay shit in our schools, you go to the gulag. All that stuff, right? So.
Oh, what I just see? Matter of fact, you just said something about that. I think I just seen. And I don't know if it's true. I need to look this up, actually. It had popped up one of the news sources on Twitter, but I believe they just said that they made it where you can no longer participate in surrogacy in Italy.
Right.
I think they made a law criminalize it. Let me make sure it is.
Um, I think that it's already criminalized there, but I think that they criminalized Italians going out of the country to do it. So if you like go to America to get a surrogate and then you come back, you're fucked. You're going to jail. Like they don't want anybody surrogating anything over there.
Okay. So that is it. This is from one day ago. This is breaking news right here. Italy bans couples from traveling abroad for surrogacy. Look, I'm down with this. I believe that surrogacy is a damn abomination against nature. I think is motherfuckers skirting the law of nature. And the more we skirt the law of nature, the worse shit gets. That's just all there is to it. Because you got, look, if you're gay, you decided that you didn't want to have no kids. Okay? That's just all there is to it.
I would say that's the purpose. I would say that's the entire natural purpose of it.
Yeah.
You're gay because nature doesn't want you having kids.
Yeah, if you're a woman and you fucked around and you wanted to live your best years, and then you got, 48, 49 years old talking about, man, I'm ready for a kid, and all your eggs are gone, it just is what it is. Okay? You know what I'm saying? And we need to have consequences. We're just taking out the consequences. So folks are doing shit all out of order. And the surrogacy thing.
Well, people want their cake and eat it too. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And we're America in the 21st century. We can do everything. No.
Oh, man. That shit right there. I don't even know. Corey, how does somebody sit there one day and say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the egg out of this woman, and I'm going to fertilize it, and I'm going to stick it in this woman over here, and it's going to grow, and we're not going to have any issues. How many folks had to die before that shit worked out? How's the body not rejected?
I wonder if there are any long-term medical things that go on with people who were born to a surrogate, whose egg they didn't use, because sometimes a surrogate uses their own egg. That happens sometimes too.
Yeah, so freeze it or whatever. If you got enough money, you can freeze them and all this shit.
I think the gay dudes buy a chick is all they do. They buy a chick and they're like, hey, we'll give you money and you let us use your shit. You bake our cake in your oven and fucking, we got to use some of your milk there. So that's how they do it.
But damn, that's taking the fun out of making the baby, though. I mean, the whole premise is you're supposed to have the fun part. You know what I'm saying?
I think something can be said for natural childbirth. Although at the same time, no matter how special it is, goddamn, we got a whole world full of worthless fucking people at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Now, ho. Now, I ain't say nothing about it being special. Okay. Look, I don't congratulate people early. Okay. Here's and somebody might look at Q. You just cold. I was like, look, when somebody we see this all the time. People's having a baby, and it's like, oh, congratulations on your baby. I said, ho. Let me see what this baby grows up to be, because you might have birthed the next piece of shit. You might have birthed the Terrifier. You know what I'm saying? Damn, Jeffrey Dahmer out here eating folk. You know what I'm saying? That's what you might have birthed. Same way people get married. Oh, man, congratulations. But, I mean, until I see one of y'all holding the hand of the other one on their deathbed and y'all made it, I ain't congratulating you yet. Man, folk be breaking up all the time. That ring don't matter. That 3 months of wages, Corey. If y'all didn't see our episode, I think it was one of the first ones we did, 3 months of wages, and get you a nice ring, depending on how much you make.
I know the divorce rate's like over 50% now, and it's supposed to be like that's kind of a newer thing since like the 80s or 90s or whatever. But
right.
I don't know if that's true or not. I've been in my historical research. You come across people and you learn about their backstories, and Jesus Christ. Everyone was getting divorced, it seems, back in the 50s and 60s. I don't know if before that it was just so taboo you stayed miserable forever, but it just doesn't seem like you're ever meant to be with someone forever. It just doesn't seem like that's human nature. It seems like 3 to 5 years, and if you make it that far, pretty cool. 3 to 5. Yeah.
That's low.
Yeah, it's low. It's low.
Blinking, it'd be 3
I think it's reasonable.
No, yeah. Okay, so there's a major reason that I believe why stuff doesn't work out. I believe men will stay in most relationships most of the time. Okay, you have your certain subset of men that want to branch out and do things. Even you had a whole life that you wanted to live as far as different experiences. But most men will stay in a particular situation. They'll talk themselves into a situation. Now, women, on the other hand, okay, a lot of times, from what I see, is that they get with the guy that doesn't actually turn them on, okay? But it's a guy that's good for them, okay? This is a good guy. They go when they see they talk to their mom, oh, he's a really good guy. Friends, like, he's a really good guy. But they go home and they're like, this nigga don't make me wet, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just don't. And eventually, it all comes to a head because they start talking about shit like, oh, well, you didn't do this chore and that chore. I'm like, really? Really? Okay. Man, well, I'm just letting you know, bud, when they down, when they feeling you, but all that shit they don't talk about none of that. All that stuff that I see the women get up on the podcast now, like, oh, yeah, I need you to do this at the house and that house and change the diaper. Well, and can you cook dinner every once in a while? I'm like, bro, if they down, they ain't worried about that shit. You know why they worried about that shit? Because they don't like you. I mean, and it's okay. All right. hey, look, we can't. Hey, we need to reproduce out here. Okay, so we can't leave it up to whether folks like each other or not for that. Corey said on another one, we can't leave a little thing called consent up to whether we ain't let the damn populate the planet. Yeah, so I think that's what it is. And the issue is that a lot of people are not moving in the same direction. So I can't think of I think the woman's name is Cavalieri, if I'm correct. But she's 40, she was like 45, and she was recently dating a guy who was 24. All right. She had divorced her husband and she started dating this dude. Young dude going there and knocked the socks off of her. And they broke up recently. And I'm like, they probably could have stayed together. But the guy said, I want to have more babies with you. I'm like, man, the woman's 45. What are you talking about? You're not even going in the same direction. So you got to be going in the same direction early on. What is her aspirations in life? Does she want the $500,000 house with 4 kids, 2 Suburbans, a maid, a nanny? You know what I'm saying? And like, if that's her life, but y'all ain't gonna make it if you can't provide that. You know what I'm saying? As for you, you might be like, man, I'll stay in my 1-bedroom apartment and be fine. She's like, man, don't you ever want to do anything else? No, not really. And so, like, not moving in the same direction. So we don't actually talk this stuff out. You're horny at first and you hit. You feel like, okay, well, I guess this will be okay. But you're not actually figuring out if this is going to be able to last long term. And a lot of us are phony right out the gate. I ain't going to lie to you. I mean, that's a lot of lying right out the gate. It's pretty bad. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Especially on the men, we know out here, okay? We know what the deal is. A lot of us out there, we full of shit early on, okay? I mean, you know what I'm saying? We be trying to butter this thing up because you know what you're trying to do. So I think that's a major issue. And if you talk about years ago, I think a lot of times people didn't separate because it ain't make no economic sense at all. Like, what were you gonna take from somebody, especially when you're broke? Oh, you gonna give me child support? Man, these motherfuckers were making damn $25 a week. What you talking about?
Here's another thing though. It seems as though when you look at the past, look at like American life from the 20s through the mid 50s. Mm-hmm. It seemed like motherfuckers were constant. Nobody was single. It just didn't happen. You were not single.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Everybody, you got married. And if you got divorced, literally you were fucking hooking up with somebody and getting married 6 months later to somebody else. That's just how it was. Like, it's wild. I watched some of these fucking, biography documentaries of some of these mobsters and just some of these people back in the day. And like, they're constantly getting married, constantly staying in a state of married all the time. Like, it was just society expected it. And that's just what people did. But at the same time, it seemed like people had a whole lot lower standard by what they needed to get married. And a lot of times it was very often financially based. We're both kind of broke, so let's get together so we can afford this apartment.
Exactly. That was the whole premise. And I'm gonna be honest with you nowadays, but making it off a single income, it's tough. Okay, unless you're somebody who makes millions. Hell, even if you're somebody who make millions, because folks out there they can't help themselves. Hell, Angel Reese just got up right here recently on her live, and she was like, "Yeah, my WNBA salary won't even pay my rent for the whole year." She's like, "Yeah, my rent's $8,000 a month." I'm like,
"Why the fuck you live in an $8,000 a month apartment, you fucking bitch?"
I'm like, well, "Where are you at? $8K a month?" Corey, I mean, you've been to some of these high-rise cities. Let me know which city.
Okay, let me tell you this: if I was spending $8,000 a month is basically $100,000 a year. So that it doesn't sound like she was forced into that situation. Nobody held a gun to her fucking head to get an $8,000 apartment. But an $8,000 apartment, dude, you can get a fucking like 2-story fucking house in the middle of nowhere on 10 acres, for that kind of fucking money. Serious. You can get 10,000 square foot fucking house. So she's probably in a downtown area in some fucking 1,500 square foot apartment that's disgustingly overpriced.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if it'll tell us. Where does Angel Reese live? Let's see. Okay. So Chicago apartment.
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah.
Chicago downtown.
Yeah.
8,000 a month. I
bet it's no bigger than 1,500 square foot.
Oh, you don't think so?
I bet you it's not.
Probably not, because the condos don't get very big down there.
You can get big ones, but you pay.
Okay, so you pay more than $8,000 a month. It's just like
you gotta think, if you're a millionaire, like if you're just a standard millionaire, you got a couple mil in the bank and you make $600,000-$700,000 a year. Like that's not a lot of money to drop for a place. Like dropping $10,000 a month is like peanuts when you're a millionaire. You know what I mean? So these people don't have to think twice about it, and that's where the real income gap is. Like because nobody's out there renting a $10,000 a month place wondering if they can afford it. Nobody. It's either pocket change or nothing. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting gap.
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you right now though, a lot of those motherfuckers get in trouble though. They wake up one day and the money ain't there. They be looking like Adrian Peterson's ass. They be looking like Vince Young's ass. They flat broke.
Well, it seems like people in sports, people in entertainment, people in movies, they're not the brightest people in the world. They just aren't. And so when you give people who aren't that bright a whole bunch of money, they do not bright stuff with it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, I mean, you think they would, and allegedly they say they do, but you think they would give back to the community that they came from. But, I always hear
nobody gives a fuck about the community. Nobody gives a fuck about the community.
I came out of the mud. You know what I'm saying? I got it out the mud.
You know who I appreciate? You know who I really appreciate? Fucking Ryan Reynolds. Motherfucking Deadpool. And not because of his acting skill. I mean, yes, he's funny, but he's he does one role, Ryan Reynolds, and that's it, right? So
yeah, it's like Jason Statham. He's
just right, exactly. But that motherfucker, he bought into Mint Mobile for like a couple $1,000,000, and he sold his shit to T-Mobile for $300 million. That motherfucker made some money. He's got his hands in a couple other companies too. That motherfucker's going to be a billionaire, legit. I give that guy props.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's been right on time. But I mean,
honestly, the best work he's done in his career are those fucking Mint Mobile commercials.
Oh yeah, the Mint Mobile commercials are pretty good. But yeah, I just look around and I'm just like, hold on, all y'all folks telling me how you got it out the muddy terrain. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about any mud. I'm talking about that damn red clay. That shit from around my area. That red clay mud. That shit like it stinks. The mud stinks like doo-doo. You know what I'm saying? They got it out that type mud. And I'm like, well, did you go back and did you help the muddy community? No, I didn't really go back. You know what I'm saying? I actually moved around a bunch of white folks. That's what the black folks do. That's the first thing they do. You got some money. Where'd you move to? Beverly Hills. It's like, oh, how many Negroes out there?
bro, because all these Negroes is white supremacists. That's the bottom line. These are all, they are white supremacists.
I mean, that's what I want to know. Now, I ain't talking about these light-skinned Negroes, okay? We ain't talking about the light skins. Light skins need to step to the back, okay? And now I'm trying to make a decree here because I always see them step to the forefront and they loud. They got something to say. The boy's like, what's his name? Sean King. Isn't that the dude's name? He always loud at the forefront. Light-skinned Negroes, all right? Y'all need to step to the back. All I want to hear is from, look, you need to be one of three things. You need to be a darkie, okay, which would be me. A darkie, milk chocolatey dark, which is just a little bit lighter than me, but you still like, okay, he full black, and then a dirty dark, all right?
Oh, what's a dirty dark?
Yeah, that's well, dirty dark is like yeah.
Oh, the Africans.
Yeah.
Like when they close their eyes at night, you can't see them.
Yeah, the ones so black they blue. You know what I'm saying? The dirty dark. Then I also use that as a derogatory term for when people are doing things that are shenanigan like. It's like, man, don't be a dirty dark. All right.
It doesn't appear as though American blacks and Africans they don't really seem to have an affinity for each other. No,
not really. Not really. There's some of them over here that are American blacks, but I think they're a little bit closer to the roots because they've got that real dark complexion. There's a couple of them floating around here. I see them. I'm like, your lineage is straight from Africa, okay? There won't no white dude who can't put nothing to few of the slaves out there, okay? Y'all stay straight black, okay? No doubt about it, all right? I think that's how you can tell. Somebody, what was it? It was one of my professors. I told him my last name, and he was like, man, they should put a third on that. So your last name's French. I was like, oh, yeah, from the slave masters. Probably had some French. I was like, oh, appreciate it. I didn't think nothing about it. I was like, okay, I mean, sounds good. You know what I'm saying? He just kind of threw that out right in front of everybody. So light skins out there, tone it down, okay? You know, your Steph Currys and all that. Look, I like Steph Curry, basketball player. Man, you light skin, okay? You too light to be in this conversation, okay? That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's all good, though. It's all good. Corey, did you? I wanted to talk about this because we said it on Showtime with Q. New comic just released, Absolute Batman in the Absolute Universe. Now, from what I'm understanding, the Absolute Universe is a reimagining via Darkseid. I don't know exactly how this happened, but somehow he recreated the universe.
Darkseid did.
And it kind of jumbled things up. If I'm correct, I believe that's what I was seeing when people were talking about it.
I'm having alarm bells go off already because, like, how many multiverse reimaginings do we need?
I don't know, but
what I would prefer.
Okay.
And unfortunately, timing always sucks because they can never coordinate the various franchises from between TV and movies and comics. It's always the comics have to come out first and then hope that everybody changes to whatever the comics were. But if DC really if all these comic companies pulled their head out of their ass and said, hey, let's start over with a definitive telling of the story, and it starts now, and it's not going to have any bullshit, right? Like, go back and pull stuff from the original comic.
You just said. You hear what you said. You just said no bullshit.
No bullshit. Okay. So they can do everything's become so jumbled that they can do a new retelling starting at comic number 1 and tell one continuous story that doesn't fucking change. There's no multiverse. That is officially new canon, right? And they can do it by plucking from the old stuff, but new imagining, new retelling. But let them put out the signal to everybody on the TV shows and the movies and everything. Hey, this is where we're going. This is a direction, and so you need to get on board with this and stick with this. And then don't let it get overcomplicated. Don't feel the need to put out a movie every 2 years or 3 years.
But
put out one every.
Need to do that.
They can, like we've been talking about with Penguin, they can tell a continuous story, having a movie and multiple shows sandwiched between that and another movie. You know. It can be done correctly if they just do it correctly. Just do it fucking thing correctly, assholes. Just do it right. You don't have to fucking remake everything every fucking couple of years.
This is true. Well, look, let me tell you about the absolute Batman, okay? And just see if this tickles your fancy. Reimagining of it, all right? So, Batman or Bruce Wayne is not rich. He is actually from a poor family, blue collar, all right? And in this, both his parents didn't die, but his dad dies. Saving kids at the zoo from a gunman, okay? Okay, all right? So, he actually went to school with all the villains that are currently in Gotham. Like he when he was younger, hell, was in classrooms with him. The Joker is the billionaire in this universe. Okay, let me finish, Corey.
No, I'm tomorrow. I'm going to go out and I'm going to see if I can't find this comic in the store.
Okay. The Joker is the billionaire. All right.
Let me just I got to point something out to you really quickly.
Okay.
My uploading has dropped to 13% and counting.
Yeah, I know. It's because I paused it.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're good.
Yeah,
all right, never mind.
I paused it. The help with the lag.
All right, cool. So,
my other computer.
I looked up this Absolute Batman. I'm looking at the cover of it. This is not a definitive Batman telling. I can tell you that just by looking at the cover. So,
okay. Do you see his chest? You see his chest? That logo?
I don't see a logo.
Yeah,
I see black.
No, that's the Bat logo. That's the new Bat logo.
It doesn't look like anything.
Yeah, but it's because that's an axe, and he cuts people up. So he has the hilt with him, and that's an actual axe on his chest. And his actual bat ears are knives. And he can use his cape like a symbiote. He created that cape in a symbiote like. So he can reach out and pick people up and sling them and impale them with it. On top of that, like I said, he's a blue collar guy, but he's extremely smart. He's still extremely smart.
He's very big. He's a very big Batman.
And he's huge. But in this, because I don't think they fully jumped into the Joker, but you see, I think from what they were saying, you see him at the end, and the Joker is actually a billionaire in this particular retail.
It's kind of a roles reversed kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it seems like that Batman's not going to be very interested about making sure you stay alive. Seeing how he's got an axe on his chest. So I thought when like people were saying that the comic was gas. They saying it was on point.
They said people are saying the comic is good. People are liking the comic. It ain't some woke shit. It's like some real. DC is going back to an old logo. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so I think they're doing an entire Absolute series, Absolute Superman, which from what I understand, he doesn't make it to Earth as a boy. He grows up on Krypton the entire time before he actually comes to Earth.
Do we know how many of these absolutes they're doing? Like when they rebooted, so about 15 years ago, they rebooted the series, and they with all the Flashpoint stuff that was going on with Flash, there was I got all those comics, and then I got like a big chunk of the DC New 52 after Flashpoint, and they rebooted to the New 52. That's where you get the Batman Court of Owls stuff. But they ended up putting out 52, actually more like 55 or 56 comic lines, starting with those New 52. So do we know if there's going to be like 50 plus new comics under this Absolute series?
Not sure. I do know that they talked about Absolute Superman, which is what I said is a kind of the retelling there with him actually growing up on Krypton the entire time before he actually comes to Earth. They're doing I believe they said they are doing a Green Lantern. They didn't give the details on that. They said they were doing a Flash, but they didn't give the full details on that. And then Wonder Woman, she doesn't actually grow up with the Amazonian woman.
Oh, that's good because that whole fucking shtick is dumb.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Every time I see that in the movies, I just want to gag. Like, those movies are dumb. Like, fuck Wonder Woman.
It's the lasso of truth, though.
Yeah, fuck her.
I mean, like
unless it's Linda Carter on the fucking skateboard, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Linda Carter on the skateboard. Oh man. Well, I mean, it ain't got to be like that, Corey. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with Wonder Woman? I mean,
here's the deal. Unless men can objectify her, nobody gives a fuck, right? So unless she got some titties on her, men ain't gonna give a goddamn fuck about her. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I guess you got it.
Yeah, of course, I got a point.
You got a good point. Look. Here's Corey. We can't do the objectifying. They have to objectify themselves, okay? And they're the ones that profit. That way, it's okay. Then we can partake in it. But we can't. But like a man can't gain benefit from a financial benefit.
Yes,
that's exploitation.
I think exploitation's fine with me.
I mean, so you giving a thumbs up for exploitation?
Yeah,
we all do a thumbs up and thumbs.
Yeah, we all exploit each other every day anyway. So what's the difference?
Thumbs up, thumbs down segment. Okay, exploitation for Corey is a thumbs up. It said I'm fine with it. Okay, use within reason. Isn't that what they say?
So let's take a look and let's see if they got a trailer for. They might even have a trailer for this Batman, even though it's a comic.
For the Absolute.
Hmm?
Did they do trailers for comics?
Oh my God. I don't know what it is with Riverside, but when I go on Riverside, my computer doesn't want to do nothing else. Oh my God. You're going to have to look it up because my shit's slow as hell.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, go on YouTube and put in like Absolute Batman and trailer, and something should come up.
Yeah, that's why I actually like using my other computer. It's got more processing power. Let's see. They don't have a trailer. Yeah, they don't have a trailer for it. Some people put some reviews out, but they don't
Come on,
have
DC.
A trailer for it. Don't have a trailer for it. Oh, the Penguin did drop a mid-season trailer.
Is there? So then there should be 2 new trailers: a mid-season and a episode 5 trailer.
Yeah.
I've seen neither of them.
Yeah, we didn't see. They didn't have. Well, I saw the episode 5 trailer right after it because it showed it right after. But I think today they actually dropped a mid-season trailer for the Penguin. Okay, and they also dropped a trailer. Suppose November 17th is when Doom Prophecy comes out on HBO.
November 17th?
Yeah.
And how many episodes is that? 8?
It's probably going to be 8. But this looks like it's going back. So it looks going back Benny Gesserit.
I have high hopes for it. There's not really much to screw up. So this series will have been based on Herbert Jr., his book that he wrote. I don't know. I don't remember if it's a single book or a trilogy, but it's about the Bene Gesserit. He also has one about the Guild Navigators. So this is. I read a shitload of those books. Besides the original 6 Dune books, I read 6 prequel books. And then since then, he's come out with Dune 7, which is broken into 2 books, which I bought and started, but I got maybe 50 pages into it and just got distracted. But other than that, those are like the core storyline of Dune that you kind of, if you care about the story at all, those are the books to read. He's come out with at least 9 or 10 other fucking books that are like just so totally superfluous, unnecessary. But hey, when people get a taste of that money train, it just keeps having to flow. The spice must flow, right? But he's got a bunch of trilogies that have nothing to do with the main story. That's just, side stories. And he continues to put out books that are like that. So, okay. But no, it's good stuff. It's quality writing. I don't know the storyline of this particular Bene Gesserit series, but I hope that this doesn't become a careful what you wish for kind of thing, because I've been saying my whole fucking life I want somebody to do Dune and do it correctly.
Correct.
And so far with this new Dune, it's been okay. But motherfucking Paul Atreides is starring in Forrest Gump 2, which kind of ruins the fucking mood for me.
Come on, man. Don't let that hold you back.
Here's the deal. If I was a fucking director of a major trilogy like this that I was prioritizing and then be bringing in $1 billion, I would make sure that my fucking lead actor doesn't go off and do some gay shit that makes him look stupid in the meantime, right? They need to put some kayfabe into the fucking movie business if they want to bring back some real shit.
They used to be able to do that back when everybody and their grandma wasn't putting out projects.
So back in the day in wrestling, if you were a good guy, you better not go be seen at dinner with the bad guy out in public. Never. You break that illusion and you're fucking out pretty much. That's how it should be in fucking movies. Motherfucking Paul Atreides, motherfucking Forrest Gump 2 totally ruins the illusion for me. I'm going to go see the next fucking Dune and I'm going to be like, that's fucking Forrest Gump Jr. I'm going to be like, if they need to employ old school kayfabe into fucking Hollywood roles. And pay the motherfucker not to make a movie for 2 years.
Yeah, there you go. Now that I think about it, man, I don't really remember a bunch of the old school like WWF superstars like getting in trouble outside the ring. You had the one incident with Chris Benoit where he broke down and killed his whole family and he killed himself.
Yeah.
But other than that, like outside of the ring, you really didn't hear nothing from them.
No, because they did a really good job of keeping shit quiet. There were some incidents. There's a great series called Dark Side of the Ring. I don't know if you've seen any of those, but it has some like of the real life stories behind a lot of the incidents and the real life stuff. And there was like the plane ride from hell where they were like Ric Flair was like getting naked and sexually harassing the fucking the stewardesses, and it was wild. People were doing crazy shit.
Naked. He was getting butt naked.
Oh god, yes. He wore his robe and then he would just flash his fucking
pull his dick right out.
Right, and it caused like 10 lawsuits and like it's called the plane ride from hell. It was wild. So shit happens, but they do a good job of hiding it. Not so much anymore. Kayfabe is dead. Disappointing. Everything's dead. I wish I could go back to like the 60s.
Yeah, and we talked about this and golly, in mass. That's the issue. There's just too much shit out. I mean, like every week they got new movies out. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, who's funding this shit? What about the one guy? What's the name of that new movie? Is it Megalopolis? Is that what it is? Well, my man used his entire life savings to make this shitty movie that ain't make no money.
Okay, how does someone? He never made any money. I mean, he didn't make any money.
What, the Megalopolis?
Yeah.
Hell no.
So how did he get all these big actors? How do you make a first movie out of nowhere with your life savings and get all these big actors in it?
Yeah.
And here's the deal. Hang on a second. Let me just say this. If you fucking got a whole bunch of life savings and it's multi-millions of dollars, don't go making a fucking movie, you idiot.
Yeah.
Go buy some Bitcoin.
Look. Oh my God, dude. This movie has just made $11 million worldwide.
Yo, what did Joker 2 make? That's just crap.
Joker 2. Let's see. Joker 2 box office. Let's see. Hell, just to let you know, Megalopolis has been out for like a month. Hell, Terrifier 2 made $18 million the first weekend.
So it's because people are desperate. People are desperate for entertainment. They're desperate for good entertainment. So the Terrifier is as good as it gets. That's terrible.
Yeah, so they've made okay. So Joker 2 globally has made $165 million. Let me see how much did Megalopolis take to make. I'm pretty sure it was 120. How much money did it take to make? Yep, $120 million is what is what it costs. Let me see when this movie come out. Yeah. So what was it? Coppola. Coppola's the one. He built his large fortune in winemaking business. He spent $120 million of his own money to make the film.
Francis Ford Coppola?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a hard time. I have a hard time feeling bad for him. Fuck that guy.
Oh, do you? Oh man. Okay, but the movie released September 27th. So what's it been in theaters? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
3 weeks has made 11 million worldwide. Worldwide, dude. Fucking damn! Somebody holding a damn a camcorder. Fucking made damn $100 million. What was that damn Paranormal Activity? It's some nigga holding a camcorder and not shit happening. I mean, you just spent You just spent all your money. Hopefully not all of it. Probably most of it on a movie. They ain't even go. Well, break even shit. We want to break a quarter. I ain't worried about breaking even. Let's break to a quarter. I don't even know what Megalopolis is about. I mean, he didn't have enough money for marketing. They had Adam Driver in it.
Oh, is that Darth fucking, what's his name?
Yeah.
Darth Kylo Ren?
Yeah, was it Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Aubrey Plaza? It's got LeBeau.
Oh, I like LeBeau.
Yeah. It's got John Voight, Lawrence.
He's really good in Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye was good.
Yeah, Catherine Hunter, Dustin Hoffman. I mean, they got names. And they just got a L.
I stopped liking Dustin Hoffman once I realized that fucking Rain Man was a 100% pure cover your ass propaganda film. You ever met an adult with fucking autism? No, they don't exist. They definitely didn't exist in 1990 something when that movie came out. That movie came out to cover fucking vaccine fucking injury. I'm not even fucking playing. Fuck Rain Man to death. Fucking adult with fucking autism. Eat a dick.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, Corey, I mean, you ain't got to do the fellas like that, okay?
Yeah, fuck that guy to death.
You ain't got to do him like that. All right, guys, let's jump into. We're gonna jump into the final topic because Corey's gotta be out of here post haste, so we want to be on time today for the powerful one. And 'tis the season, as we said earlier. 'Tis the season. It's election.
It ain't 'tis the season. Election season. It ain't Christmas. You keep saying that. Yeah, I keep thinking Christmas, and I ain't ready for Christmas. Okay.
'Tis the season of pandering for the black vote. Okay, for the black vote. Now, of course, in 2020, we do remember the statements. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. All right. We do remember that. Okay. And so now, it seems like we've got reparations back on the table, Corey. The thing is back on the table. It is an option now. Okay. And so Kamala was on the Breakfast Club right here recently. All right. And she was talking about these said reparations and how we might need to take a look at it. So let's let her speak her piece right now.
So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very...
Her voice is like nails on a chalkboard.
In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class. My mother, worked hard, raised me and my sister. And by the time I was in high school, she was able to afford our first home. I know what it means for an individual and a family to have home ownership. I also know, in the context of history, nobody got 40 acres and a mule.
There it is, Corey. The 40 acres and the mule. Okay. We're going back to that. Now,
if I was a person of color, I would be very offended by that statement.
Well, I mean, well, you shouldn't be there. That's what she's saying. Saying you shouldn't be. Look, the minute that you get a loan from thugs, the shit don't work out, okay? It's like taking a loan from the mafia. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, but you better pay back up, okay? With the interest, all right? With the interest. Otherwise, it's not going to work out for you. So, how much is 40 acres and a mule now? Can we equate that to US dollars now? 40 acres and a mule, current currency. Let's see.
That's not much. That's only about, I'd say, 50, 60 grand.
Come on now. Hey, bud, I'm going to pull this up, Corey. There ain't no way this is real. There ain't no way this is real. Google AI, they helping us out today.
Hold on a second. Let me ask you a question. If they came to you tomorrow and said, hey, man, here you go. Here's 40 acres and a mule. Would you take it, or would you be like, you go fuck yourself?
40 acres and a mule?
Yeah, if they just wanted to give you 40 acres, they showed up at your door and gave you 40 acres and a mule. The fuck would your reaction be?
What, me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want no land. I don't want to fuck with it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't want to fuck with no land. This shit said, I'm against, me personally, like, I don't even want to own a home because I don't want to do no fucking landscaping or nothing, dude. I'm out of it. I don't ever want to cut a blade of grass ever again. Fuck grass. But look at what this says. 40 acres and a mule in today's currency estimated to be $370, 640 billion. I'm like,
bro, this is AI telling you Fish's fucking album came out.
Well, see, it's all like, dude, hold on a second.
Okay, so what they're saying is, like, if you got 40 acres back in 1865, it would be worth like $7 then, but that $7 would be worth $1 billion today.
Okay,
that's what they're saying.
So here's what they're actually saying, because this is all putting. So they're saying that fulfilling the promise for the 2.2 million freedmen would cost around $370 billion a day, or it would be so each black person, which I don't know how you would figure this out. Whether you were truly black or not. This could only go to the true blacks. And so we have to do well, we can't do 23andMe anymore.
No, they have to get out they'd have to get out the color shade chart.
Yeah. Light skins need not apply, okay? Y'all are closer to damn
The next thing you know, they're going to be busting out that thing that they do the measurements with. They're going to measure your nose and how wide your nose is, and then how fucking from your nose to the top of your head. I mean, they're going to have you're going to have like 50 points of identification on this chart to prove that you're black. Right? It's going to be like straight out of the Reich, dude.
Yeah. Oh man, damn. Maybe I can conjure up some things to figure out if you're truly black. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, as a black man, at all point in time, your black card is on the line. Okay, my black card is on the line every single day of the year because somebody's trying to take it away. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
I'm mildly confused.
Okay, somebody's always telling me why I'm not black. You know what I'm saying? They hear my voice. You ain't black. Who'd you vote for? You ain't black.
Let me cut you off right here.
You ain't black.
I got to cut you off right here.
Uh-huh.
This is a... Okay. See, people are confusing some things.
Okay.
They're saying that you're not black because you adhere to the culture that you live in, which is an American culture, right? So whenever black people adhere to American culture, which is the culture in which they fucking live, which they should adhere to, other black people want to seemingly, throw some shade on them, if that's the correct terminology. So that's ridiculous. This is a culture issue. It's not a race issue. It's a culture issue. And those motherfuckers they participate in the same exact culture that of the people who they're accusing, but they just like to pretend that they don't. So
Right.
there you go.
Right. But does it, Corey? At no point in time, nobody comes for your white card. Latinos, they don't get cut. They don't come for their Mexican card. You know what I'm saying? Chinese.
Well,
folks,
that's
they don't
because
come for their Chinese card.
Well, that's because in these kind of layman's terms, the culture that we all share and live in has been mostly a white culture. Really, I mean, this country was 90-something% white until like 25 years ago. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just natural for the dominant culture to be demonized by.
Yeah, but they come in for my card all the time, though, Corey.
Well, if it was if I moved to fucking Zimbabwe and I did what the Zimbabweans do, and some white people there would be like, "Man, you ain't white. You Zimbabwean." I'd be like, "Whatever." Mm-hmm. See, it's a majority minority issue.
Well, they even had Barack Obama out there speaking to the brothers. Say, brothers, we need to get it together.
I wonder what their opinion. What was their opinion of some black people who moved to Japan and follow Japanese culture? What would their opinion of them be? Would they take their black card from them?
Yes. If you're American Negro, okay. Mm-hmm. If you're an American Negro male, okay, male, not a woman, all right, but a male, then at every turn, one mistake, and your black card be taken. They'll be trying to take your nigga card next. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they'll be trying to take all of them from you. You just be like, every time I turn around, you trying to tell me that I ain't black. I mean, I can look at myself in the mirror. I can tell that I'm black. You know what I'm saying? This ain't rocket science, but because I didn't acquiesce to what you wanted me to do, now that means that I'm not a part of this quote unquote black culture. I'm like,
well, it seems like the ultimate shtick there is that if you're not mad at your obvious white oppressor, then mm-hmm. you're an Uncle Tom. That's obviously the attitude they're getting at. So,
right, yeah. So I mean, so of course, so they've got derogatory terms for black people who supposedly are, white supremacists.
So when I worked for the sheriff's office, there was this one. There were not many black cops when I was a cop down in Florida. Like one agency I worked for had 2 or 3 out of 150. And the other one, I only interacted with maybe 1 or 2 men and maybe 2 or 3 women. And that was it, really. But this guy was so prim and proper. And it was like, it bothered me that he talked negatively about black people, and he was black himself, and that made me feel super uncomfortable. Like, mm-hmm. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, you shouldn't denigrate your own people no matter what. Period. Like, be proud of who you are always. You know what I mean? And so, it's always an iffy conversation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, be proud of who you are, not be proud of what what the majority of your particular skin color does. So I think that's where we kind of have a disconnect, because unfortunately, but the black community actually raises on a pedestal probably our worst people, to be honest.
I would say so. But also, honestly, man, like going back 400 years, like I don't feel that black people have ever had a fair shake in regards to exploring any kind of their own culture ever. It's always been offshoots of white American culture, right? Mm-hmm. Like I think a little pockets of culture like hip hop, and mostly they're culturally based around music or art or something like that, right? I think of like previous movements. You go back to around the turn of the century, there was a lot of black gospel culture, like that revolved around the church. Mm-hmm. And then you had the move into the 20s and 30s, and you have this kind of blues culture that kind of emerged, right? So you've had pockets of black culture in America pop up that are uniquely their own, but it doesn't seem as though there's ever been a blanket culture created by black people for them to engage in or develop, and that I always have felt was a bad shake, a bad roll of the dice. So
Yeah, which is why I don't worry about that shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I could gives a damn. You know what I'm saying? I just engage with what I like, and then the rest of it I could care less. I could care less whether it's black or white or whatever.
Right.
I like some hip hop. I like some R&B. I like some heavy metal. I like some doom metal. Every once in a while, there might be a country song that I make fun of, but actually I kind of like it a little bit. I like some pop music. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like I can be all over the place. You know what I'm saying? I don't wear dashikis, so I mean, at the whole going back to the African thing and all that stuff. And
Did they even wear that shit in Africa? I don't think so.
I don't know.
That was probably some shit that got made up in America in the 50s.
Yeah, Man, so do they really wear that? I don't think they do. Can we go talk to a resident African?
It'd be like when fucking Marty McFly went back in time and he wore that fucking like pink with the tassels fucking Western shit, you know?
Yeah. But okay, so back to these reparations because it's tis the season. The pandering begins. She wants to look into it. Definitely needs to be studied. So what we got up here, that would be $169,000 per eligible black individual. Okay, so $169,000. So let's say that you did this, all right, and you dealt it out these checks. Now, regardless, they didn't already black folks didn't already gave your reparations to the migrants. Okay, so that's already too late.
So here's my biggest thing. Like here's how you know all these programs that they talk about with reparations and anything that involves giving out money to groups of people, they're completely full of shit because all they need to do is fucking nix your income tax. And there's your reparations there, right? But do they ever, under any circumstances, ever talk about nixing income tax for anybody or any group, no matter what, ever? No, they don't. Oh, I'm sure there's some Jews out there who don't pay some tax. I promise you that much. There's some hidden Jew law that the Jews don't pay tax on shit. I promise. But if they were serious about reparations, they would just be like, I'm going to eliminate income tax for black people. There's your reparations. But they won't do that. They'll do this list of criteria. It'll be like the hurricane money, right?
Yeah.
If you want your 750, you gotta have AIDS. You gotta fucking be gay. Your house has to be destroyed, and you have to not have fucking any insurance. And you got to jump through all these fucking hoops, and then maybe we'll give you some money, right? It's the same thing. They make the promise. They come out with some fucking program that doesn't deliver to anybody, right? And then they count on that. They count on people not being able to qualify. And then they're like, well, we did this for you, right? And then it becomes a political talking point. And that's all these things ever are, political talking points. They don't give two fucks about helping anybody.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just pretty much talking points. I want to show one more clip before we get out of here, Corey, because of course, once again, black people do not know or do not have ID and do not know how to get ID. Okay, that's
because they don't know how to use computers, bro.
Ongoing thing. I'm just like,
how can you get an ID if you don't know how to use a computer?
I'm like, is this supposed to be helping your cause, or I'm not sure here. Okay, I'm just putting this widespread blanket over that black people are dumb. I mean, that's what it's kind of just saying. So help out the poor Negroes, you know what I'm saying? So she got up here on this interview right here, and she talked about the issues with having to produce an ID. So I'm gonna look at
it. Is agreeing to voter ID one of these compromises?
I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't, there's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max.
What is she talking about?
You have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
Hey, I want to rewind that back so we can analyze that last statement, Corey.
Be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are,
but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
What?
Okay, Corey, can you give me a breakdown of what just happened right there?
I don't know what happened there. I don't know. She opened her mouth, some words came out, and then confusion ensued.
It's just like, of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that would make it impossible for them to prove
She
who
is
they are.
so absolutely fucking retarded that if anybody votes, anybody who votes for her should be thrown into the gulag, literally.
Yeah,
if you're that fucking stupid, ignorant, or fucking malicious, you need to go to the gulag.
There's no doubt about that. So we're going to wrap up this show of Beyond the Cue. Corey does have to roll. We appreciate everybody for being with us tonight. Sorry about the late start. Had some technical issues. Hopefully that'll be squared away. Godly. I mean, he's just got to point me out. Corey was the one giving me grief over it. All right. My damn microphone.
Sounded like you were time traveling or something.
Yeah. Guess I was. All right. I was well on my way. So we appreciate everybody for being out with us tonight. We will be back with you next Tuesday for Showtime with the Key, where we'll be looking at episode 5 of The Penguin. So make sure you're there for that. Make sure you go to bloodyhistory.substack. Get Corey's damn book. I don't know what you're waiting on. Best JFK historian that's ever lived, okay, and ever will live, okay. So make sure you do that. If you want to get that signed copy, email Corey. He can still get that to you. All right. Make sure you're checking out my page, hq420.com. And from your boy HQ420 and the powerful one, Corey Hughes, we'll catch y'all on the next Beyond the Key. I almost said Showtime, but I'll catch you on that too.